What's up, everybody? Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another daily deck tech video, and back with a viewer request, and today we have Xavier Saul. But before we get into it, if you like my deck techs, discussion content, budget content, feel free to subscribe. You don't have to, only if you feel I've earned it. And if you want to see your commander made into a deck tech, drop it in the comments down below, or fill out the Google form in the description. But let's get into it, shall we? We have ourselves Xavier Saul, Infested Captain. Somebody I've wanted to make into a paper deck myself, but I just have not gotten around to it. He's a 3/3 for 3. You can tap him to remove a counter from another permanent you control and populate, activate only as a sorcery, or sacrifice another creature, proliferate, activate only as a sorcery. So you can either make a copy of a token you have, a creature token you have, or you can proliferate. So we're going to be playing some counter stuff. We're going to be playing some stuff that gets us some tokens. And who do we have to do that? Well, we have Garrick here, 5 loyalty for 6. You can 0 him to put 2/2 Black Wolf creature tokens onto the battlefield, and when these creatures have, when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control. -3 him to pop a creature, draw a card. -6 to give big overrun. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample. Creatures, we have Adrix and Nev, twin casters, ward 2/2/2, and if one or more tokens would be created under your control, create twice that many tokens are created instead. Arasta of the Endless Web, one of my favorite cards. Whenever an opponent casts an instant sorcery spell, you get to create a 1/2 spider with reach. Makes a good amount of little blockers. Bitterbloom Bearer, flash flying, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a flying blue and black fairy rogue fairy creature token. Cankerbloom, sack it to either pop an artifact, pop an enchantment, or proliferate. Compy Swarm, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, so like the tokens you're sacrificing, create a tapped token that's a copy of Compy Swarm. This can get out of hand pretty quickly. I've gotten it get out of hand pretty quickly. Evolution Sage, whenever a land enters, you proliferate. Azuri, when it enters, you can pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. Fathom Mage, evolve, and whenever a 1/1 counter is put on this creature, you draw a card. We do have some ways down below to put 1/1 counters on a bunch of our stuff. Curious Follower, untap another target permanent. Use this with Xavier. Murderous Mimic, copies, Xavier's abilities. Mirkwood Bats, so that way when these tokens die, each opponent loses 1 life. And when you make the tokens. Pensive Professor, increment, and whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put on this creature, draw a card. We have our Thalids. I love Thalids a lot. I used to have a kitchen table deck back in the long ago, revolving specifically around this art of Thalid. But we have Psychotropic Thalid. All the Thalids have the same base ability, which is at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a spore counter on it, remove 3 spore counters, create a 1/1 Saproling. And then Psychotropic Thalid has sacrifice a sap, draw a card. Vitaspore has sacrifice a sap, target creature gains haste until end of turn, and Thalid Germinator has sack a sap, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Thalid and Thalid Shell Dweller do the same thing. They're just the base Thalids, except for Thalid Shell Dweller has Defender and has a big booty. We have Scurry Oak, evolve, and whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature, or on Scurry Oak, you may create a 1/1 green squirrel. Slimefoot, whenever a Saproling dies, Slimefoot deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. You can also poop out a Saproling for 4. Tekethal, if you would proliferate twice instead. You can also make it indestructible by removing 3 counters from among other artifacts, creatures, planeswalkers you control. We have Tendershoot Dryad. Ascend, and at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token, and Saprolings you control get +2/+2, as long as you have the City's Blessing. Thrumming Bird, flying, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. And Winding Constrictor, if one or more counters would be put on an artifact or creature you control, that many +1 of those counters are put on that permanent instead. And if you would get 1 or more counters, that many +1 are put on instead. Be careful if your opponents have poison, friends. Sorceries. We do have a Ramp package in Cultivate, Rampant Growth, Kodamas Reach, and Farseek. For token generation, we have Echo Casting Symposium. It's got Paradigm, so once it resolves once, you exile it, and then it goes off every single one of your first main phases. Target player creates a token that's a copy of target creature you control. We have Right of Replication, makes a token. If you pay the kicker, it makes 5 of those tokens. Pest Infestation, destroy up to X target artifacts and or enchantments. Create twice that many little black pest creature tokens. When they die, you gain a life. We do have Drown and Ichor. Target creature gets -4/-4, and Proliferate. Feed the Swarm is removal. Germination Practicum, put 2/1/1 counters on each creature you control and has Paradigm. We have Phoresis Outbreak. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Then each creature your opponents control gets a -1/-1 for each poison counter its controller has. We have Tesseract's Gambit. Draw 2, Proliferate. Toxic Deluge. You pay X. Each creature gets -X/-X till end of turn. Instants, we have Assassin's Trophy, Beast Within, Putrefy, Fell the Profane, and Vraska's Fall for hard removal. Vraska's Fall also gives people a poison counter. We have Prologue to Phoresis, draw a card, and give somebody a poison counter. Cackling Counterpart makes a token copy of a creature. Fungal Rebirth, return a permanent you control to your hand. If a creature died this turn, you get to create 2 Saprolings. Growth Spirals, the tiniest amount of draw and ramp. Saw in Half, use it on your own creatures to make tokens, your value tokens of your value creatures. Artifacts, we have ourselves Contagion Clasp. I didn't put Contagion Engine in here because of how much mana it has to sink in, but you can pay 4 to Proliferate. Skull Clamp for your tokens. Swiftfoot Boots for protection. Insight Engine, pay 2, tap it, put a charge counter on this artifact, and draw a card for each charge counter on it. It is budget the One Ring. We have the Great Henge. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control, and then you can pay or tap to add 2 green, gain 2 life, and whenever a non-token creature you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on it, draw a card. Alright, enchantments. We have Awakening Zone and Bitter Blossom, which both poop out tokens during your upkeep. This one's a 1/1 fairy and costs you a life. This one puts 0/1 Eldrazi Spawns into play. We have Growing Rites of Itlimoc. Lets you look at the top 4 cards of your library, put a creature in, and then at the end of your turn, if you have 4 more creatures, turns into Gaia's Cradle. We have Hardened Scales. If one or more 1/1 counters would be put on a creature you control, put that many +1 on instead. Tribute to the World Tree. Whenever a creature enters under your control, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. Otherwise, put 2 1/1 counters on it. We have Inexorable Tide. Whenever you cast a spell, Proliferate. I debated back and forth putting this one in here because sometimes it's hard to get value out of it because it's such a threat. We have Extravagant Replication. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of another target non-land permanent you control. So you can copy like these enchantments for value as well. I'm going to seize. Whenever you draw a card, put a Foreshadow counter on it, remove 8, make a Kraken. I love this card a lot. Springleaf Parade, X and double green. Create X 1/1 colorless shapeshifters and tokens. Creature tokens you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Lands! We do have Karn's Bastion for Proliferate, Nesting Grounds to move counters around, and Rogue's Passage in here. We're outrunning as many swamps as we are forests and islands because we don't have that many black cards in the deck. But that is the build. Time to scuttle on over to playtesting. We'll zoom out by 1. Alright. Let's go ahead. We have 3 lands in hand. Let's draw for our first turn. I'm going to put Opulent Palace into play tapped. Next turn, I'm going to play Forest. And I'm going to play Ballad. So during the upkeep, it gets a Spore counter. Next turn, untap upkeep. We add a counter to it. I am going to play Woodland Cemetery. And I'm going to play Tribute to the World Tree. This gets another counter. We are going to play an island. And we're going to play Xavier. He has power 3 or greater, so we get to draw a card. And our next turn, this gets add a counter. I'm going to go ahead and play a Forest. And we're going to play double blue. And 3, 4, 5. We're going to play Inexorable Tide. So, we're starting off slow. We're going to play a Swamp. And so now, this has 4 counters on it. Which is pretty good. And we are going to... I think we're going to drop Tekethal. We're building up an engine, and then going to start proliferating here, right? So we cast a spell, so we're going to proliferate this, and then on our next turn, this is when we're going to start doing silly things. So I'm going to cast Vraska's Fall. We're going to say that we get to sack somebody. Somebody gets that. But this goes off proliferating first, so we proliferate twice. So we actually need to add 3 because I forgot to add 1 for that. So we have 8. Alright. And then we can start removing our counters. So we can create 2 Saprolings, and then we can sacrifice a creature to proliferate. So we can kind of keep doing silly things like that. And that's how we're going to operate. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, I am Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.